It's the Think High crew, yeah. Yeah, it's the Think High crew, what up? Yeah, it's the Think High crew, you know. It's the Think High crew, what up? It's the Think High crew, yeah. It's the Think High crew, yeah.
What's up, everybody?
It's popping, no.
It's Moon's Day, aka Monday,
Moon's Day.
aka Mindset Mindful Monday. We got to come up with a way to for the new year to use our Mindset Monday, Mindful Monday, Fuck Around Find Out Tuesday, WTF Wednesday, and then our Fire Music Friday. The hashtags that we use for them.
Right.
I want to start putting those on T-shirts, man.
Oh yeah, we can do that. I'll
You know
put
what I
this
mean?
on some t-shirts today for you, bro.
But I think instead of saying mindset and mindful, like I think we need to come up with a FAFO or a WTF
Right.
that makes up that. Maybe there's already a hashtag that kind of goes with that. But I think we're the first ones that I'm not saying this is like awesome. I'm just saying I think we're the first ones that's been doing a mindset and a mindful Monday. Maybe
Yeah,
not, but I think so.
we go through the whole week and we party all weekend. We go through our jobs or jobs, our persecution all week. We get to the weekend, we celebrate making it through another week, and then on Monday we got to charge back up because we might
Yep.
got to do it all over again. So yeah, I think that's the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah. And for anybody involved with markets as far as investing, things are turning the fuck up, aren't they?
Boy, it's
So
blood
let's
in the
just do
streets.
a big congratulations to everybody that has held through the FUD and you know what I mean? Like we're coming out on top now because it's going down, like for real, for real.
But it's really going down.
Yeah, which means it's really going up. But yeah, man, it's just nice, you know what I mean? Not to rub it in nobody's face, nothing like that. But like it's just nice to know that you've got the willpower to be able to withstand all of the bullshit. And then, like a couple months later, you've got something that went from like 14,000, 13,000, whatever, when it dipped all the way down. And now it's, last night it hit over 42,000. And it's just like, mm, 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 boy. And so, yeah, congratulations to everybody, man, because,
For sure.
it's going down.
You're absolutely
But,
right.
so that, just keeping your mindset and being mindful of what you're actually doing throughout that, you know what I mean? That takes a lot of power in itself, bro, because you think about so I did I'm not going to talk money dollar amounts, right? But I'm just going to say like I've got multiple of these things called Bitcoin, right? And so, but what I did was I took X amount of dollars and I put it in. And I was like, I'm just gonna let that sit for a minute, and then I'm gonna take that out, and that's gonna be profit instead of just holding, because like I already got what I'm gonna hold on the Bitcoin side, right? So this morning, me and my wife was talking about it, and I was like, all right, like we could get the 8 grand that we put in plus 1,700 back right now, or we can just wait a little bit longer. And you know what I mean? And at the end of it, she was like, and then I came to the agreement too. We were like, man, fuck it. We'll just leave that 8,000 in there, and then I'll do it again. You know what I'm saying? Because like
Double
once you
double
get to the point to where, right, it's just once you learn what this
tenfold.
Bitcoin thing is, it helps your mindset go at ease, because you realize like
Whole lot
this
of
is it.
crypto,
You know what I'm
money on
saying?
tenfold.
Exactly. I was just about to get into and then when you realize like you do have a chance to tenfold, as long as you don't get involved with a bunch of bullshit that's gonna, tell you this, tell you that, rug you. Like you get involved with something and then all of a sudden you tenfold. And hopefully the song tenfold is going to be to ride the wave of this next bull market. And it's going to be like a song that introduces people to crypto, and then it's going to be a song that traders can relate to because they know exactly what that song's talking about.
Facts.
And then also just people in the industry, just builders, developers, holders, investors, anything like that. They actually now have a song that is not corny as fuck and is not lame as fuck, and it sounds good and it's put together good and is actually in that niche for those types of people. And then it brings in hip hop, which is every type of person in the world, and rap, or if you want to call it rap, whatever. So I think it's gonna kill. And we got the music video done. We got a bunch of other videos done to promote it with. So, you know, other than Bitcoin, like tenfold, and this podcast or mobcast, like, that's my bull run right there, is riding
Facts.
the wave of.
Facts. So we
And
here.
tenfold's already got hella streams and we ain't even did shit yet.
Nah, not at all.
But shout out once again to G Kong.
Yes, sir.
That's what we call him. I know you read his name differently, but shout out to him for including our shit on his playlist, and we'll do the same for you in the future. You just
Yes,
let us
sir.
know what song. Um, and just because you did a song with somebody that we don't necessarily like, that don't mean we ain't gonna deal with it. You know what I'm saying? It just means like
Nah,
I can't.
yeah.
I ain't gonna promote that one person because he tried to assassinate me, bastard. But
He tried to assassinate your character. He
right,
tried to
but
get you canceled.
but shit, man. How about this? It's Monday. This is Think
Mindset.
High Crew. The
Yes, sir.
mindset needs to be there. Let's be mindful of it, and let's find
Mm.
out how we can do that.
Yes, sir.
I think the numbers can tell us one way.
Oh yeah, for sure. We back with another Mindset Mindfulness Monday, guys. We can start with the numerology. So today is Monday, December the 4th, 2023. Today will be a 5. Most of y'all already know how we get that. You could take those numbers, 12 plus 4 plus 2023, that equals 2039. And then you add 2 plus 0 plus 3 plus 9, that gives you 14. And then 1 plus 4 is a 5. Unexpected things tend to happen on fives. I'm a 5 myself. That's my life path. So when it comes to 5, unexpected things happen in my life all the goddamn time. But with that energy being today, everybody will see a similar vibration when it comes to today's vibe of expect the unexpected. When changes tend to be more acceptable and tolerable today. Expression of a person's sense of freedom will also seem more imperative. And there'll be a little bit of, what you want to say, adventure in the air. And on a global side of the day being a 5, it's just crammed full of surprises, like I was saying. Expect the unexpected because, that's probably what's going to happen. There's creativity, but, to balance that creativity, there'll be a level of unpredictability and more than a touch of unconventionality around you today. So it's not going to be things getting done ain't going to be the conventional route per se. So take calculated risk because five brings above average luck to the mix. You'll also see how I'm just a fucking dope ass artist. I can take anything and rhyme. Anyways, you'll have to pay attention though because there's so much going on. You could easily get distracted, and distractions are not good. And you don't want to look in the wrong place because you can break that lucky streak that comes with the five. Obviously, we know that your personal life path and your personal life numbers and your personal numerology, etiology, and all of that will play in how you determine what you do with five's energy today. So don't fuck up your own luck. Also, five is adaptable, so don't try to what you want to say for what do they call it, um, pussyfoot around um, or
Don't dance
not.
around the bush.
Yeah,
Don't beat
yeah,
around
because
the bush.
well, because what tends to happen if you have a schedule for today, it's probably not going to go how you plan it. So you know what I mean. You got to be able to adapt. So don't really pussyfoot around it. You know what I mean. Don't beat around the bush with it.
Right. Just
Um,
so basically, what you're saying is stick to your plan, even if you got
yeah,
to adjust it a little bit.
and if you have to adjust it a little bit. It's a good day for brainstorming with others as well. You may be even a bit more, like I said, luckier than usual. Anything that you do on whim has the potential to pay off as well on a day like this. But obviously, depending on your cycle number, it's going to depend on how well you use today's energy to be, lucky for you. And that's today's numerology. So today is a five, uh, in the which is my kind of day, really. You know what I mean? Like I look forward to these fives because it's almost like uh, um, I can be more naturally myself into my life path because it goes exactly with what I'm already living.
Right.
So today's like fives be the day that it just kind of, even though it's so unexpected, like a whole bunch of unexpected shit happen. Like I'm so used to that shit by now being on the life path of a five. So, uh,
Right.
yeah.
It's like when the term expect the unexpected, it's like, well, no shit, because you don't even know what's gonna happen to begin with.
Right,
You know
it's
what I
almost
mean?
common sense though. That all you
Double
can
fucking
you almost
bullshit.
use it every day, but it's almost like for like
Right.
days like these, you know those days where you're just like, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm just gonna fucking go with the flow the best way I can because how I got everything set up is not. I know that it's
And
not gonna work.
or
Yeah.
right, or I have things set up so I can just ride the wave,
Yes.
and regardless of what happens on one end or the other, I'm covered.
You're gonna be all right. Yes, sir. So but not all, like I said, that all depends on your cycle number two. So like if you're somebody like Nova, you see how he started taking advantage of today's energy yesterday. You know what I mean? And what he explained what he was doing with his financial, and his Bitcoin and his crypto and shit and whatnot. So, that's all goes into the same thing, but he's gonna handle it differently because he's a different life path number. But I can pass the Dutchie to, well, I'm gonna have to pass it kind of to the left hand side this
Just
side
throw that
because you know what I'm saying.
motherfucker.
I'm
Throw
gonna
it.
throw that.
Just
I'm gonna
throw it
oop it
over a little bit.
over the megawatt. Grand Rising, how you doing? Thanks
Just
for coming in.
before you throw it, take it and blow the ashes off
And
of
blow
it,
the
and then
ashes.
just
I got an ashy
throw it
house,
over
and then
there.
I'm tossing it to you so you can give us some numbers and some astrology, astronomy, and maybe some cards.
Well, it's definitely interesting. Hang on one second for me, guys. I have a.
Hey. Megawatt got a call, guys.
We do not claim that we do not claim the ownership of that music. We don't need, and it only played for like a few
That wasn't.
seconds, so that doesn't even count for the amount of time it has to. But we just want to let everybody know that we're not trying to plagiarize here.
Bro, that's like one of the
But hey,
niggas.
while she's on the phone, so we was talking about this song called Tenfold. Are you back,
Yeah,
Megawatt?
I'm back. Sorry.
All right,
Sweet.
My
okay,
bad.
let's get it.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
You're
It's a
fine.
mob path.
Interesting energy.
You see, expect the unexpected. You see, that has never happened before. Ain't that right?
What?
No, never happened.
But by the way, what song was that?
What song were you hearing?
Yeah, that
Oh,
ringtone.
it was a ringtone. It was just like the Samsung
Oh,
ringtone.
Oh, so
okay.
that wasn't a song song. I thought it was like
No.
somebody's. It almost sounded like got to be sounding something. Gotta be sounding something.
No.
Uh,
No, it was not a Michael Jackson song.
you got to be
Um,
running.
Yeah, yeah,
You got to be
yeah,
running.
yeah.
By the
so
way,
there's a
there's a
lot of
documentary. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No, go
There's
ahead.
a documentary on Showtime right now about Michael Jackson, and it's pretty fucking fire.
Is it good?
Oh yeah,
What's it about?
Michael Jackson.
I know, but like, what's
Is
the
this a
angle?
biography of Mike or
Uh,
what?
Biography basically about like predominantly him on the road touring.
Oh,
My
okay.
bad,
Pretty
T.
good
I'll
though.
be louder for you. Let me turn my mic up.
But yeah, that's pretty good. But I'm gonna let you get into it. My bad.
No worries. The energy is a little weird today. We have major planets in Sagittarius, and we also have major planets in Aries and Taurus. And those are sort of opposite ends of the spectrum. Um, Aries and Taurus are fixed. One is a fixed sign and one is a cardinal sign. They tend to be a stronger energy path and um, drive more things than Sag people do. Sag people are kind of a mutable sign all over the map, a little bit different. So you could see energy getting pulled in different directions and feeling a little maybe tired or overwhelmed from that would be one way to put it. The moon is in Virgo. So that's something positive you can focus on because it does get you aligned with what you need to be doing and what you need to be focused on. And also, if you're in your path or you're in your wheelhouse working and things are lined up, you could also see forms of information or psychic hits that you would be getting or basically clarity on subjects that you might have felt
It's
unclear
called
on.
being in that resonance of energy.
Resonance,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you can fine tune it enough for the next like 36 hours or so, you will have that positive output on you. So there's a grand trine in Earth. So that's activities that you need to do. You should have some positive effects from that. You want me to keep going?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. And so just, if there's something an action you need to take or if there's something you need to do, go ahead and line that up to either make an appointment or make it happen or take care of whatever you need to do. If you have planets in Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn, you will see a stronger pull or stronger need to manage those things or take care of them. Um,
Can you give an
I,
example?
mhm,
Like
yeah. So if
just
you need
for the layman's out here.
Yeah, for sure. If you have those those planets in Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn, you should already have an idea of what that looks like for you, whether it's like a monetary action or following through with completing tasks related to money, finances, business, things like that. For regular people, it could be things like getting your car inspected or looked at or, just making sure that everything's okay on your vehicle. It could be, making reservations for something that is upcoming. The reason why I'm talking about those types of things
You
is because we're
needed to
heading
tell
into
me
a.
that on what was it, Friday?
I didn't
I
get
was
to do
about
this on Friday.
I was about
Yeah.
to say I've literally done like the majority of the things you just said. Like I just took my car in to get the oil change, tires rotated, balance, and alignment
Mhm.
done.
Yep.
Making reservations for hotels in Atlanta. Fucking, I mean, hey, I'm on it. I'm on it.
All
And I
right.
ain't even.
Good. Good. So, just taking care of like business kind of things that are like, you have to get them done. They're kind of those irritating things that you're like, I know I have to do them, but I don't want to do them. And making time for them, like it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it will end up being a big deal when you do it versus not doing it. So, it could be like, calling your tax advisor and asking them a question that you need to find out for the end of the year, or it just could even be assisting family members with their own businesses needs or stuff that they have going on. So it's kind of like a just like busy work, like like you got to get it done. So
Right. So like just that all that shit that you want to procrastinate on,
mhm,
just
mhm.
because nobody wants to take their car in to get a fucking oil change.
No, no.
I
I
mean,
mean,
like you got to because your car ain't gonna run, but eventually, like you get to the point, after doing it for years and years, you're like, God damn, I just got to keep doing this redundant fucking
yeah.
shit.
That stuff that
But
feels like I don't want to do this today or whatever. And there's an umpteen million things that you'd rather be doing. It would be more fun, but it's like, and I have to say, like, I'm a terrible procrastinator. So it's like I'm speaking to me right now, first and foremost. So to get me back, to do what I need to do. So it could be something as simple as clean out your emails. I mean, it could be something dumb like that.
I
So,
need to do that too. I need to delete
mhm,
pictures and videos, all kind of shit.
mhm.
I got
It just depends.
thousands. I got 21,000 unread emails. How does that even
Mhm.
happen?
It happens. You get on a lot
Well, I
of
mean, who am I to have 21,000 unread
Man, that's
emails?
some
I don't even know.
spam shit. You
mhm,
already know, man. I get it.
mhm,
I got like 13,000 of them motherfuckers that I ain't
mhm.
looked at.
I mean, it's spam, but like it's things that I've actually interacted with, to be honest
Yeah,
with
you've
you.
bought from them. For sure,
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
it's like these motherfuckers are just hitting me left and right. They're like, man, fuck this motherfucker up.
And
Get his
the
ass. Bam,
reason the
bam,
reason
bam.
why this is important to focus on right now is because we're heading into a Mercury retrograde. So the more stuff you can ding off your list and take care of, the smoother this process is going to be for you. So that's why it's important.
Hey, and that's so
That's why
crazy.
we're
Playing the
I'm
talking about
heavy
it.
sorry, y'all. That
game.
was my music that was fucking coming through. I don't even know.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know how that shit was happening. It's probably why my voice was low and everything, because music was fucking playing behind the
Voice is
scenes. It
still a
was.
little bit low, to
It
be honest
is.
with you.
I'm still a little bit low. What about now? Can you hear
You
me better?
sound better. Yeah.
All right, yeah, it's because my mic is too far from me. But yeah, I got y'all. I was just figuring out
All
what
right.
the
Yeah,
hell I was doing.
you sound nice and
Well,
crispy
this
now.
okay.
iPhone is something else. You know what I mean? And I upgraded, and I'm like, okay, well, but I'm just still getting used to this shit. So don't
Right.
mind me.
You did a
Maybe
great thing, sir. You did a great
have your
thing.
daughter sit down
You have the
and
best
teach
phone
you how
ever
to
now.
use
I
it.
really feel my age, y'all. I'll be like, God damn, what the
Mm-hmm.
fuck?
You know what? When I switched over to this fucking MacBook, the new one, oh my god, bro! I thought I was like, I was like, no, I'll just get another MacBook because, like, I already know how to use it. Shit, I know how to basically use this bitch. I don't know how to use it. There's probably 13,000 things on here that I don't know how to do yet. I mean, but it is what it is at this
Didn't
point.
mean to flip the
So,
subject, but yeah, I get where you going with that energy and shit like that. I don't want to do none of this shit. I don't think I'm about to do
Mm-hmm.
anything until
well,
uh
that goes
the new
along with it.
year.
It's like I don't want to sit here and go through the process of learning how to do it. So how I learn it is just when it comes up, I just figure out how to do it then, which I get stressed out and aggravated with it. And it'd be a lot easier if I just sit my ass down for a day and go through this
Yeah,
whole
just spend
shit
like
and figure out how to use
like
everything.
a half an hour a day just to fucking play with it.
Right.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
instead, I wait till I got to figure out how to do it and then I'm like, "Argh!" But going along with all that energy, I think the energy of this is coming back into the mindset of people, which
Yeah.
is tenfold. You know what I mean? It's a new year coming up.
Crypto.
It's 2024.
Whole lot of
Things have
crypto.
been
Money
low,
on tenfold.
not no
I am the
more.
sum. Tell a free world, come holler when they need more. Wallet on beast mode. Try to hold me down, I don't think you can. I am my own bank. Pushing pack, got 7 on demand. What do you expect? My royalty reflex. We about to run it up. This how a nerd flex. My dominance is so dominant. I could drop it all and still cock shit. This free form is so DeFi. Make a big splash, that's a deep dive. Call it white car, how I revive. After 3 days on the sleep side. No dream board, this a real slide. Had to point the way just like a field guide. Follow the leader. I'm making all the moves. If it's decentralized, gotta make it do what it do. I'm all up on your blockchain. We dope enough to rock. My trading view was so obtuse, I can close my eyes when I'm about to aim. This is that real shit. A double on tongue like a nigga with a chain and a whip, call it field trip. Flip it on his head, turn a 6 to a 9 when I spit, had to feel this. No mask on when I kill shit. Make sure you can see the face that lit the way and gave nigga keys to free all they realness. Crypto. Whole lot of crypto, money on tenfold. Future millionaires, turning billionaires. All because the boy got a tight hold. Crypto, yeah. Whole lot of crypto, money on tenfold. This is my rifle. Slide left and earn a million off an iPhone. Crypto, yeah. Whole lot of crypto, money on tenfold. Future millionaires, turning billionaires. All because the boy got a tight hold. Crypto, yeah. Whole lot of crypto, money on tenfold. This is my rifle. I slide left and make a million off an iPhone.
All right, we'll do the second verse a little bit later. How about that?
Hey, did you have some cards to go with where the stars and the planets are? I need to quit rhyming.
Yeah, that's why I did the first verse
Yeah,
only because I didn't want to stretch it out too far.
I did. So the three cards I pulled, one was the Justice card, one is the Eight of Swords, and one of the is the Nine of Swords, which is kind of interesting because Justice for me talks about making decisions and making the right decision, and then with it compared with the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Swords, it can indicate that you may have had situations here in the recent past where you felt like something was unfair to you or something happened to you and you have some grief or some emotion tied to it. And so I think what I'm getting from it is that when you make these decisions or the decisions that you need to make, try not to have too much emotion wrapped up in them in that process, because that shade it makes your judgment different and it changes the way that you actually make decisions. So if you can kind of try to separate the emotions from it, because both of them talk about feeling like left out or feeling grief or some sort of sorrow or like things aren't fair, that kind of mentality. So just try to separate the decisions that you have to make from the actual emotions that you're feeling. That's how I read it.
That sounds like a plan for the day. Sorry, my kids. This is his most active time for some reason because he really needs a nap. That's why he this active.
Right. So I guess we could just go ahead if we want to and kind of talk about where we are like right now. So like, we've been diving into the holidays and we started the other day and what did we learn, Jason? Like we learned that Christmas comes from what now?
Man, Christmas comes from a lot of shit, which comes from a lot of shit, which comes from a
Right.
lot of
It's
shit. So
pagan, we know that, but like
yeah,
what's
so yeah,
that what's
it's
that word?
Saturnalia.
There you go. So maybe some people have looked into what that means, but we basically told you. And so if we start from there and we come to today, the significance of the colors of Christmas. Now it's just Christmas. We're not talking about
Deep
the
diving
holidays
time.
because
Yeah,
we've
go
been
ahead.
talking about the holidays. But there's me personally when I thought about the colors, I was like red, green, and maybe white.
Yeah, why?
But then you get into fucking gold, purple, and pink also, and what these meanings are. And then when you learn about the color green, you learn that that's where the Christmas tree comes in. You know what I mean? So just real quick, I was just going to go over the color green, and then if you want to go over like red and mega white, if you want to go over like gold or white, we could do it like that if y'all want to. It's pretty cool to learn like where the origins of this comes from, and
Mm-hmm.
how powerful it became among society, not just among one religion. Um,
Yeah.
so
When
how
you
hard
get
would
done
it?
with when you
Go
get done
ahead.
with green, let me know and I'm gonna just add something onto it.
Okay. So, how hard would it be to imagine a Christmas sans red and green colors. Very difficult, right? Every year we decorate our house in red and green. And red and green are not the only colors associated with the holidays. White, gold, and blue also fall on the list. After doing a thorough research on it, we found that traditional Christmas colors have both religious and historical origins. God damn it. And in this article, we'll discuss the significance of colors of Christmas. So, green, probably one of the biggest colors that you think about when you think about Christmas. The color green has been considered the color of life and mystery even before Jesus Christ was born. So we've already talked about, Christmas before Jesus Christ, right? So I'm glad they said that right there, and I'm glad I could put it in those words. While every other tree dies during the winter, only holly bushes and fir trees remain evergreen. People probably thought it was some kind of magic that helped these trees survive the harsh weather. Thus, these two plants were both feared and worshipped at the same time. Sounds like a god, right? You fear and worship it. And ever since, the color green came to be associated with life. The Roman celebration of Saturnalia, the festival which honored god Saturn, took place every year between the 17th of December and the 23rd of December. During this ceremony, Romans would weave holly sorry, it's a hard word for me, wreaths, and hang on their doors and wall. These wreaths sig, sorry, y'all, these wreaths signified their desire to see the rebirth and the sun and return of the summer. Romans would even place uh now I don't know what this word is, y'all, but it's sigaria. Almost sounds like or it's almost spelled like sangria.
Can you
But
spell it?
these um yeah, it's Sigillaria, which are small figurines on the evergreen tree. So
So it's a
it's like a bow.
or yeah, like a
So it
decoration.
Mm.
seems
Okay.
like an ornament or some shit like
Yeah.
that on a wreath, though. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then when the churches began celebrating Christmas or Christ's birth on the 25th of December, now see how that changed up right there. It used to be Saturnalia on the 17th and the 23rd. Then it becomes Christmas or Christ's birth on the
And
25th
did
of
they tell
December.
you did you read why, or did they tell you why it changed?
No, this is just color right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But I'll let you tell us that. So when the churches started celebrating Christmas or Christ's birth on the 25th, which happened at around the 4th century, the believers and followers of Christianity left the wreaths to be hung during Christmas as well. Since then, the color green has become associated with Christmas. The Romans would even exchange evergreen branches of mistletoe, ivy, and holly in January is a sign of good luck. The ancient Egyptians, on the other
Witchcraft.
hand, right would bring palm pagan, which would bring palm branches in their house, particularly during the midwinter festivals. Furthermore, paradise plays were performed in several countries. You hear that? Paradise
Yeah.
plays were performed in several countries of Europe during the Middle Ages of the Christmas Eve. The play narrated the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The plays were Bible stories read to people who couldn't read. Woo! Wow. The plays were Bible stories read to people who couldn't read. The paradise tree featured in the play was located in the Garden of Eden. It was basically a pine tree with red apples tied to it. And that's the color green, summed up. We could go into red, we can go into gold, white, blue, purple, pink, but you got something to say about green, Megawatt?
Mm-hmm. I do. So when you talked about the tree with the apples on it, I think that's to symbolize the tree in the Garden of Eden where Adam supposedly, um, you know,
Right.
she
Yeah.
Eve ate the apple. I think it's to re-signify those things, which is
Right,
weird
because that was
because
part of the Paradise play. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
It was an actual play, and there were like these Paradise plays in several countries of Europe during the Middle Ages on the
Yes.
Christmas Eve.
Right.
So and it said the play
Right.
narrated the story of Adam and Eve. So obviously, that's probably where they're
Yeah.
going with the whole.
The
Yeah,
whole thing. And then I just wanted to say, like, green is the color that signifies the heart chakra, and it's probably the most identified with color if people do identify with them or that they know about. And it's interesting because occultists and people in secret societies, they have sort of hijacked the color green for that meaning. They use it in a negative sense to use against you instead of positively, which is the way that the color green is, meant to be used and
What up,
showed.
God?
So it's kind of interesting, like how they turn and tweak the meaning of it or whatever.
right.
And M there was a movie in the early '70s called, A Star Is Born. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
No, I
No, I
haven't.
haven't.
I
I mean,
haven't.
yeah. I, well, I think I've heard of several movies that name. To be honest with
Well,
you,
it's been remade several
you know
times,
what I'm
but they
saying,
had
though.
a song in it called Evergreen, and it's kind of interesting because the idea of the song is to really embed into your body or your heart that you're connecting with the movie, so it really pulls at your heartstrings when you listen to it. So
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. No,
sorry.
Gotcha.
you're good. If you
No, you're good.
Well, other
Y'all,
than red, I mean, other than green, the other main colors, like when you think of Christmas, is red, and that color is so. If the color green represents like the birth of the Son of God, as Nova was talking about, then the red would symbolize His blood and death. So this was one significant reason why people started adding red berries to their green holly wreaths. It didn't just make the reef, it wasn't just for decoration, but also made a part. It was an analogy that they use. Since then, the color red and green became associated with Christmas. They symbolize Jesus Christ's birth, death, and resurrection. Is according to you would want to say the believers, I guess. The significance of the color red during Christmas further increased due to paradise play since apple trees were barren during winter, people would manually tie apples to the tree branches to signify the tree of good and evil. As time passed, people began replicating this practice in their homes as well. So that's where you get decorating the trees and putting that's why the ornaments look like little red like apples. You know what I mean? My mom used to fucking put golden apples on the motherfucking tree, and she probably never even fucking known why it was so appealing to her. Over time, it became a tradition, decorating Christmas trees in red, um, be it, apples or ornaments. And do you know red became the color of Santa's uniform? And red was the color of the robes, bishops, including Saint Nicholas, who we know Saint Nicholas was Krampus.
right?
And this is how it became the color of Santa's clothes. And so red also symbolizes Christ's teaching of the art of unconditional love. It was God's unconditional love for his people that he decided to send his son into the world, and end up murdering him for the same reason. The color red also symbolizes the love, integrity, and trust that must prevail in every relationship. When people love unconditionally, there would be nothing else but joy and happiness in the world. We all know that red is, they use that red and pink for Valentine's Day, and it's a symbolization of love, and that's carried into all the traditions. But that's red. That would be the red for you, where the pagans would get the color
And
red
that's,
and introduce that
I mean, that's
into
just
Christmas.
like it's just like it's like like okay, so Krampus became Santa, which was flipped upside down. So basically, Krampus the mean became
Yeah,
Santa the ho
and
ho
I
ho. I'm bringing you
right,
presents
and
as
we
long
could
as
get
you're
into
good.
that a little bit after we get into the colors, because there was the other aspect of it that we forgot, and I'll get into that with you guys. But yeah,
On the color red.
no, 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 just on Krampus
Oh,
and
okay, I got
the
you.
other
Got
side of that, because there was a other side that we completely forgot to talk about, and I think everybody, people would remember, this, and they'll be like, okay, I remember this as a kid. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so yeah, but yeah,
It
coming
just
to
it's
the
crazy how these colors usher in like, the whole thing about God and like a whole nother belief system
right. Well, I
because,
mean, even the
like
whole
Saturnalia was way before it, and there were, you know what I'm saying? And
even
then there was
auras
then
though,
that
like in
before them was
vibrations,
the Egyptian, before them was this, before them was
right?
this.
Yeah, but just like your aura, and like you emit a vibration. You know what I mean? A vibration where light passes through a certain vibration, it makes a certain color. So you know what I mean? Like that's just it's just natural. Like that's like the third part of it. Like if you talk about numbers and the stars, you know what I mean?
Right.
Then you
Well,
can talk.
like you're
You can
talking
get into
about
colors.
if somebody says that your aura is a certain
Yeah,
color, usually that means a certain thing. You know
absolutely.
what I'm saying? So I get what you mean by the
Well,
color
because
green.
yeah,
And right now, it's like
because what's
the
wild to
vibration, the vibration and the frequency being put out is green
right, right.
or red or gold.
But what's crazy about colors too is because there's been people who lived like there's a tribe in Africa who's never seen the color blue, and since they've never seen the color blue, you know what I mean, and don't have a word in their language for the color blue, it's like they don't
Hmm.
even see the color blue. Like it's like the color blue doesn't even exist.
Right, they weren't
It's
programmed.
green to them.
Their code doesn't. Their DNA code is like
Right,
blue don't even exist. We don't know nothing
right,
about blue. It wasn't put
right.
here. It's like not
Yeah,
here.
it's because they've never seen the ocean. They never seen, but when they see
Well, and
water,
think
they
about
see
this. It's
something
like
blue, they call it green. The word that they use for green. That's what when they see blue, they see
hmm.
green.
Well,
So
think
it's just
about
crazy.
this. Like somebody in a different country across the world, right? They're speaking a different language than we
Right.
are. That's like a code.
Yeah. So like
I'm not going to get too much into the
but like the
codes and stuff
colors
like
is
that, but
in
like
your
that's just more.
perception, you know what I mean? So it's like so everything's vibrating, right? And we're all vibrating light. So it's like we're if it's all a perception, if you never fucking knew or gave or was given a word for the word blue and told what it was, then it's not in the programming. And so what you got
What's
to understand why they do with these, why the colors represent what they do. I'm sorry, was that megawatt?
What's interesting about the color blue is if you're talking about paints or art supplies or anything like that, blue is actually the hardest color to make on the scale.
Yeah.
It requires the most different combinations of other things, and it's the hardest, it's the most expensive and the hardest for
I
them to
heard it
make.
was the
So,
most expensive. I didn't know that it was the
mhm.
hardest to create though.
Mhm.
Well,
But yeah, if y'all want, so you know what? So you was talking about Krampus, and we were talking about how Krampus was basically Saint Nick turned into Krampus during the Roman times, and then you know Saint Nick turned into Santa Claus after that, and But what we didn't talk about was y'all remember Yule? Y'all remember Yule? This is Yule times, like Yule time
Mhm.
cheers and shit like that, like the word Yule, and so
hmm,
Mhm.
Yule was actually originally celebrated by the Norse and Scandinavian people during, I guess depending on the source that you ask, Yule was so we know that the Germans, though, so we heard about Krampus, right? So the Yule goat, so the Yule goat and Krampus were both a part of this Yule celebration that was celebrated for 2 months in the beginning of mid-November, and it was a 12-day celebration. That's where you get the 12 days of Christmas on the solstice, and 3-day feast beginning the eve of the winter solstice. So that was Yule, and in the holiday Yule. So that's why we talked about Krampus and where Santa came from, but this is the whole story behind it. So you got Krampus was for the bad kids, right? He was basically stealing the souls, and what's so crazy about it, he was this half goat looking creature, right? But on the other side is where you get the gift giving, and for all the good people who, were doing what they were supposed to be doing, supposedly, you know what I'm saying? Then you had the Yule goat, and the Yule goat would bring gifts and presents. You know what I mean? But then, for the bad kids, it was Krampus that would come and get you, or come steal your soul, or however it was a lot of different depending on where you were, because this type of Yule holiday, right? wasn't all only celebrated like in like the German area. Like there's like they were doing it almost everywhere, but it was different. You know what I mean? So like you had the Yule goat, the Yule log, the Yule pig, like and it even goes into that's why people eat the ham and all that shit, the certain things that they eat during this time of year because that's what was part of the Yule celebration. Um, Now the Yule log is some fucking crazy, weird shit, but it's really just all witchcraft when you break down to it. So yeah, I just wanted to give y'all that full spectrum. So it's like it wasn't just
Yeah, it's
like
like
it was just
Yule was
Krampus.
like
Yeah.
Yule and Krampus was like the first
Yes,
um,
Yule,
kind of like
Krampus, and
ceremonial type Christmas
and
before
the
it was
Yule goat
Christmas.
Cometh. That was the name of the Yule goat. So it was Krampus and Cometh. Cometh.
That's
So
interesting.
I
So
know, right?
Christmas is like is definitely been handed down
Yeah,
many times.
over
Um,
and over again. So it's like so
so
the holidays bring a train of friends and family and guests. You might wish that the Yule goat is coming among them in one tradition. The Yule goat takes its origins from Thor, the god of thunder, who rode in the sky on a wagon pulled by his two goats. What is it about this fucking goat that the fucking goat is so important in all of this bullshit for some reason?
Well, you should
Um,
you should be able to figure that out if
Oh
you
yeah, I
if
know. I'm
okay.
asking I'm asking and you can. I would love for you to elaborate if you want to. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's
I
why I'm
mean,
kind of.
I I hate this word because it has a certain meaning to it. The problem with the meaning of the word is that you cannot know what everyone understands as the meaning of the word.
Right,
So it's difficult to make sure that people are understanding the point that you're trying to make. But
right,
it really does tie back to Satanism, which I think
right.
is a underarching theme through Luciferianism, which I don't think people
Facts.
understand is the more broader scope of the religion.
What it
So,
seems what it seems like to me is like you know what I mean. It in all the traditions from where it's come to, and even the Bible predicting that the greatest the greatest sin the devil ever did was convincing everyone that he was God.
but
Like
I think that the bigger sin is that they portray a certain image or a certain look for
right.
that person,
Yeah,
and
Baphomet.
it it makes it hard because everybody has their own image in their own head of what it looks like or what it does or
Hmm.
how it acts, and it detracts from the fact that it is actually a thing, but it's none of the things that people think that it is.
Right.
It's very
Yeah, for
confusing.
sure. And then it's just crazy how like, so you start to understand why the colors are used, like you start to understand why you even eat like what you eat, you know what I mean? And then you start to understand like what even why is there this goat shit
Mhm.
all over it, all the time, you know what I mean? Why is it always about that? And then because that's so deep because we always talk about who's the goat of this and who's the goat of that.
Mhm.
There's people with whole podcasts and all they talk about is fucking who's the goat, and that's
Well,
supposed
and
to be
they're gonna detach themselves from that theme by saying, "Well, we're talking about it as an acronym, meaning the greatest of
right.
all time," and
Nah, but
that's
there's a reason
true,
why.
but
Yeah,
it does
yeah.
have an undertone to it.
Absolutely. Well, it has an origin. You know what I mean? It has an
Mhm.
origin that even deals with the holiday of Christmas. Why things are the way they are. Like that's how deep this goat shit is. You know what I mean? From the Yule goat to Baphomet to the fucking Krampus. Like it's fucking nuts. You know what I mean? For real, if you really think about
yeah.
it, like it's just
Well, I
like how the
mean,
fuck.
goat when the acronym when people started using that at first it was God of all things,
Yeah.
and then it
Yep.
became greatest of all
Of
time or
all time.
whatever.
Yeah. It was. I remember they were
Um,
Mhm.
putting that on T-shirts.
yeah, yeah, that was before the whole greatest of all time thing kicked in. But so let me say that. Let me ask this. So in that Yule
Hmm.
ceremonial situation, there
Right.
is there just red and green, or is there a gold in that also?
Yeah. Well, Cause all right, cause they were. It's really come from because we talked about when you go back with it, it's just a
Because the
representation of
color
Thor,
gold is like really prominent in
Saturn.
Christmas too. So I'm just wondering.
Yes, it is because that's what goes on top of the tree is what a gold star. If you want to get into that, you can, and I'm sure that it'll ride right along with everything else that I got here too.
Yeah. Well, I was just wondering if it, you know what I mean?
No,
Because I'm
yeah,
trying to see
it
how
does.
close it is to the whole thing. Megawatt, did you want to talk anything about gold? If not, I'll read what I got right here. Yeah. Okay. Gold.
No,
This is
I
talking
said I
about.
can.
Oh, I
Oh,
didn't hear you. My bad. Go ahead.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
that's okay. Um, Gold, I mean, is most closely associated with the star, which is supposed to be the star of Bethlehem on top of the tree there or whatever. But gold is a derivative of yellow, and it signifies wealth and power. So, and then also happiness, bliss, and shrewdness. So, that's kind of the origin of gold. And also, a lot of royalty uses gold
Yep.
in their
Right.
color schemes as well.
And so to go along with the origin of the color gold, how it's kind of brought in with Christmas, gold, the color of the sun and light, are significant or rather required in the cold months of winter. But how did it come to
Hmm.
be associated with Christmas? Well, gold was one of the many presents the three wise men brought to baby
Fact.
Jesus. And it's also the color of the star the wise men followed. Furthermore, the color
Supposedly.
gold also signifies gift of the eternal life and giving nature of the Almighty. God chose Mary, a poor peasant woman, to bring his son into the world. Mary and her husband Joseph were ready to face all odds just to save Jesus Christ. This shows that God treats everyone equally, and Jesus Christ, his son,
That don't
proved the
seem
same to
like
the
no
world.
equal shit. They be lying.
Right. That's the Christmas,
Yeah, I know. I
Christmas
get what
spirit.
I know what you're
So
saying.
that's
Yeah.
where the so that's why only because three wise men brought baby Jesus some gold is why gold's in Christmas. So
Wow.
I mean I guess that,
Yeah, well, it makes. I mean,
uh
it makes sense if you're just that type of human, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, it's so gold in here because, and it's just wild because, like, I remember as a kid, my mom would literally like. So it's like I don't like Christmas trees whatsoever, fucking ever, and I think I just was ruined for me just because um, we would go every year and get a fucking real fucking tree. It had to be fucking soft pine and it had to be big as fuck. And we would fucking have to fucking. I was the one who had to sweep up all the pine and fucking feed the goddamn tree. So it just was a pain in the ass for me. You know what I mean? I had to help her decorate this bitch and stand on the fucking step ladder because it's so fucking big. You know what I mean? And she just had to have it like that every time. But she would always use like gold and silver in her
yeah, like most time the
decorations,
tinsel
like that
is
she would
gonna be
had to.
gold or
Yeah,
silver.
and a lot of times she used like apples and shit like that. Like, and I never really understood none of that shit and why it was that way. But I'm glad I do now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just
Like all the ornaments that are just a circle, and you see a lot of them, they're either red, green, silver, or gold. Um, I think maybe the silver, because I don't see anything in here about silver, but I think silver is just added in just because it's just pretty color, or shiny, or whatever. It goes along with gold contrast or whatever.
Silver and blue are the colors that Jewish people use when they're celebrating
Well,
Hanukkah,
right. Yeah,
and
that is true.
I think it got pulled over from
that
that.
makes sense.
So, okay, so white. Why do we think
Probably from the snow, right?
white is really
White
associated with
signifies
Christmas?
purity and wholesomeness.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So what? The baby Jesus, the birth of a virgin from a
Mm-hmm.
virgin. Is that what
Mm-hmm.
you?
So white, Jesus,
Holiness.
yeah, Jesus Christ is spotless, sinless, and pure. just like the color white.
Wow.
He brought light in the dark and dying world and died just for the betterment of his people. But who were? But I just got to say this real
Man,
quick.
this is so
If
wild.
if Jesus was Jewish and he died for his people and the betterment of his people, who did he die for then? Those who acknowledge Jesus Christ as their Savior are washed of their sin and made whiter and purer than they are. White, the color of peace and purity, also happens to be the color of the snow, which we see in abundance during the winter and, of course, Christmas. But that's not
Man, I
all.
love the fucking shit.
White paper wafers were used in the earlier times to decorate the paradise trees. The paradise trees. Remember the paradise plays? So the wafers generally symbolized the bread the believers ate during the Mass of the Christian communion. It's their way of remembering the Jesus died for them. It might mean supposed to say that, but whatever. Uh, Moreover, the color white is incorporated by most of the churches during Christmas. The altar of the church is covered with white, except of Russian Orthodox churches, where gold is used during the Christmas. Even the fifth Advent candle, also known as the Christ candle, positioned right in the center of the wreath, is white. So Russia doesn't use white; they use gold. But I think like America and a lot of other places do
That's
use
so
white,
crazy,
and
man.
we just heard why.
And you
So
know what? So,
if you're a fan of the color black, then you think
bro,
you
do
just
you
got to
see
you
how
got shit all
significant
on.
they've even used the definition of these colors as a social construct, my nigga?
Right,
Like
and
Mhm.
that
also
shit is so
to
fucking nuts, bro. To
and
just think
also
that
to
though, that
use the
it's
color
highly.
white to
Go ahead.
make something more holy and to
Yeah,
associate.
Well, white and black are not technically considered colors in the color wheel.
right,
True, that is
right.
true. It's just
Because
they're like that. They're like words or adjectives.
yeah,
Sorry.
the spell, and
Mhm.
we've talked about this. We talk about it all the time, and I'm glad that you kind of bring that up because that's really what it's all about. You know what I mean, it's one gigantic spell that is worldwide because all of these, like from Krampus to the colors, they go all the way back. Motherfuckers was doing this shit
Right.
for as long as they could fucking remember. You know what I mean? Like it even, that shit's so deep. So then now, like we don't even call white and black colors on the color wheel anymore, and they are
We just
used
use them to
to
explain things
yeah, but
and
yeah, we
promote
use or
certain
to
beliefs.
describe something that like is more pure than the other.
Well,
Yep.
white is the basis of a color, and black is this signified as all the colors
All the
mixed
colors,
into
right?
one. So,
Yes. Yeah, if you mix all the colors
Yeah.
into one, you get black. Ain't nothing else you gonna fucking get. Um,
Right.
but
But to
yeah, that's
start out with everything, to
yeah.
even create any color, you have to have at least some
mhm,
pigment of white. So it's
Yes.
fucking it's
mhm.
crazy that those
White's
aren't
in there too.
actually colors though. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, well that's
and then
true
it's
because they
crazy
they
that we
need to
actually associate human beings with those colors
yeah,
when nobody's
yes,
white or
yes.
nobody's black.
Right. See?
Mhm.
I mean the
And that
color, you know what I'm saying? Like or nobody's yellow,
right.
nobody's really
But
red.
that's how
You
deep
can
the
have a
spell
tint
is,
of
bro. Yeah, that's how deep this spell is. Like that shit is fucking. That shit blows my mind, kind of, even to this day, to think about. You know what I mean? Because when you, like I said, we talk about numbers and we talk about, the stars and how everything's aligned and how everything is the way it is. We talk about the glitches in the fucking matrix and how you mean shit's just fucking, off, like it doesn't make fucking sense. And then like when you think about it, it's like there's a gigantic spell of even why we use the words we use during this time of year, why we actually even how our whole society is set up with the colors. Would you want a color of law? I guess you want to call it that.
right.
You know what I mean? And the significance of why they've used these colors. So like this is something that's what I mean. Like it's just a gigantic spell that's been passed down from
Yeah.
generations of
But if you
generations.
but if you were to pick an average person, on the street or somebody you were
Hmm.
sitting next to somewhere and you were to start explaining this to them, they would just look at you like, "What the hell are you even talking about?" Like
I know, right?
you would lose them past the explanations of the colors, maybe at the explanation of the tree. Once you got
Right.
past all that, there's a glazed over look in their face and they don't even know why you're still talking. Like they don't even
Yep.
care.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
Yep.
weird.
Well,
Yeah, go
they
ahead,
could
no.
just stay like that because that's how it is. At this point,
Yeah.
that's just how it is. You know what I mean? Like, I hate it for everybody, but I've given up on trying to save
Yeah,
humanity.
no offense. It's not like that. We do this for
You know what I
we do
mean?
this for us. We do this for, as selfish or as it may seem, but you know what I mean? Like I do this because I want to. You know what I mean? And but at the same time it's like I'm still trying to figure shit out. So this is just me, you know what I mean, on a journey of trying to find myself and just inviting everybody else along for the ride because there's a lot of questions that people have that they don't necessarily take the time to dive into. But if you got the time to if you don't got time to do that, then shit, you can listen to the podcast while you're doing whatever the fuck you're doing. And you
Right.
can have motherfuckers thinking high for you. Like, well, God, I'll be
So,
damned.
okay, so think about this. So, the color white was just pretty, the color green and red and gold weren't as controversial, I guess you would say, as the color white was just talking about, right? And so,
Mhm.
Megawatt just said that the color white and blue came from the Jewish religion. So, we got blue, and the shade blue is associated with Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ. So, white and blue. White is associated with Jesus, and blue is associated with the Mother Mary. So that's like, I guess, the two most important things right there, right? And that seems like the origin of this shit, kind of,
Mhm.
in all reality.
Yeah.
In the medieval times, blue dye or paint was much more expensive than gold. Hence, the color blue would only be worn by wealthy people or royal families or blue bloods, right? Mother Mary is often depicted wearing blue to signify her importance. Also, blue represents the color of the sky or night, the waters of the creation in Genesis 1, and heaven for that matter. So, blue represents heaven, the creation of the creation in Genesis 1, the creation of heaven. It represents that. It represents the Mother Mary, and it was the most expensive color to create. And then white is the sinless, purest, most awesomest color ever. So, and associated with Jesus. And then gold was the color only because three wise men brought baby Jesus some gold. So it
Sweet
seems like
baby
this shit, the
Jesus.
origin of this motherfucker is right on target with what it is.
Hey,
Hmm.
hey,
And
yeah,
Money,
go ahead.
I think
power, respect.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you just said about blue is the origin of why royal people adopted over purple because it was a little bit cheaper and more
Yep.
cost effective to sub in purple as opposed to blue.
Yeah. And
Well,
no, I
go
was gonna
ahead,
say that
Jason.
also what they had those violet colors in Africa, um, and they saw that from them too as well. So like anything though that was on in that spectrum of blue to violet was more difficult to obtain, and the more blue it was more difficult to obtain than you're right than the violet ones. But so you're right, they did adopt it that the purple though and like the violet colors as a cheaper method. um I read
But
something about that
actually,
too.
yeah,
That a lot of the
but
Africans.
purple or violet is considered the main color of Advent as it symbolizes fasting and repentance. During Advent, the churches over the altar with either violet or purple cloths. So, since purple is the color of royalty, it even demonstrates the sovereignty of Jesus Christ and the reception and anticipation of the coming King celebrated during Advent. Today, several churches use blue instead of purple. The first candle of the Advent wreath, the candle of hope, or the prophecy candle, is purple. Even the candle of preparation or the Bethlehem candle is purple in color. Additionally, the candle of love or angel candle, which is the fourth Advent candle, also happens to be purple. Yeah, so purple's all through there. And I guess it's the official purple of royalty.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess, like y'all said, it was people started using blue, but I thought blue was the most
All that shit.
was the
That's why
most
we use. That's why a lot of the countries around the world got blue in their flags and shit. That's definitely
right,
been one of those symbols of power or royalty or justice or
right.
for some reason blue is
Because blue
signified as
dye was much more expensive than gold back in the medieval times, and I guess that's just an occult thing that stuck. You know what I mean? It's like
yep.
blue.
Oh yeah.
Blue is, you know,
That's why
and
most
that's
flags have blue in it, especially the European ones.
right. Well, most things, if you think about like Facebook, Twitter,
Hmm.
man, you can go all the way down to like Tiffany's and Company, like LinkedIn, fucking
Yeah.
all these different things got these blues in them. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like Microsoft, all of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Weird when you think about it.
No, it's not. It's just another another spell to match the vibration of the
Right.
words. You know what I mean? Like it has to. But I
Well,
wanted
the
to. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. We got
No,
one last color, and I'll get into it after we.
okay.
We can
Well,
kind of close it.
what I fucked around and was finding out, you know what I mean, or was just as in we was diving back into the origins and we went, as far as like Krampus and Saint Nick and everything like that. But if you want to go back to even the Babylonian times, you would get Nimrod. I don't know if y'all familiar with Nimrod.
Yep. Very.
Yeah, they call him the Lord of Christmas. The
Yeah, I talked
first.
to him the other day.
Yeah. Okay, that's the homie. Nimrod, the Lord of
He
Christmas.
came through.
He the first human sun god, I guess. He was born on December 25th. Nimrod is of the ancient Babylonian uh,
This
that
is
time period.
Jesus' great uncle.
Yeah, so yeah, this is Jesus before Jesus. This was the first Jesus. All right, this is before Horus was Jesus, I guess. Even you know what I mean. This nigga go way back because there was and this is where you also get the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? You get the
Mm.
Trinity from these guys. So it was Nimrod, which was the sun god. It was Tammuz, born on December 25th, which was basically Nimrod incarnated after he humped his mother, who was named Semiramis, Semiramis. Um, and this text says the entire earth is lying in the power of the ancient Babylon and the spell cast by Nimrod and his mother. So this is the before even Krampus and Sam.
So
Okay.
basically, we are influenced by some incest.
Yeah, well, yeah. So basically, yeah. So Nimrod married his own mother, who was named, I'm trying to Semiramis. I'm trying to pronounce that the right way. I'm probably butchering the fuck out of it. But what'd you say? So it sounds like Sumerians, but Sumerians. You know what I mean? So the ancient, the
Well,
Babylonians
that's
came
what
after the
that's what
Sumerians,
the
right?
AI megawatt is for. Just AI megawatt what the what the pronunciation is.
We're gonna have to
I'd
figure
have to
that
see
out.
it.
I need to
I
do.
can't.
I
I
could
can't.
Google it and have it pronounce it for me,
Mm-hmm.
but she still fucks up. So I'm not even gonna go all the way there. But so, all right. So after Nimrod's death, his so-called mother wife, right, propagated the evil doctrine of the survival of Nimrod as a spirit being. She claimed a full-grown evergreen tree.
Do do
My bad, my
do do
kids. I know
do.
you probably hear him in the background. He going wild. But so she propagated this after his death, right? She claimed a full-grown evergreen tree. Damn, that's a tongue twister. Sprang overnight from a dead tree stump, which symbolized the springing forth unto new life of the dead Nimrod. On each anniversary of his birth, she claimed Nimrod would visit the evergreen tree and leave gifts upon it. December 25th, which was the birthday of Nimrod. This is the real origin of the Christmas tree. So that's from The Plain Truth About Christmas by David J. Stewart. Shout out to him. Um, and then so to keep
Yeah,
it
those
rolling,
the hollies and the fir trees or the evergreen,
yes.
they were the only ones that kept that color throughout the winter. So,
Oh yeah.
people were like,
So
"Oh shit,
oh yeah, I'm about to give it to you
I'm
too.
finna worship these motherfuckers."
Oh yeah, cause this what I got right
Matter of
here is
fact, I'm gonna bring it
a
inside of my
compilation of
house
shit.
and I'm gonna bring
Yeah.
it inside of my house, decorate it with all these
Yep.
symbolic colors,
Yep.
and keep it alive in some water and
Yep.
worship it. Hey,
Yep.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I never had a Christmas tree as a kid. I love putting Christmas trees up
For real,
and
I've
decorating
had
them
so
and
many
having
that I
the
don't even want
motherfuckers
to
lit
look at
up.
them no more, man.
And ain't that crazy because I grew up not being able to and being told
Right.
Christmas is not even real and it's all bullshit and
Right.
you can't
Well, I
celebrate it.
mean, if
And
we're
never
if we're
even
reading
hardly
about
saw a
Nimrod,
Christmas tree when I was a
right,
kid.
right. And
And
so
then it's
I
just
mean
weird
that
how we
shit.
develop.
It is. It is. Cause like it really just goes all the way back to the worship of the sun god. Like if you get a chance, there's a thing called rivers furlong. I can't remember how to spell that, but if you start typing it into your Google, it'll pop up for you. But there was a college student, I think he just traced back religion and all of this shit all the way back to the beginning of like human worshiping, the furthest he could fucking go. And he drew out a whole map of where it went to, and it's really just becomes sun worship, really, in the end. But okay, so if we're talking about the Yule, and then we transition like Nimrod. This is it came from this. So traditionally, the Yule log was burned in fireplaces on Christmas Eve during the night. As the log embers died, there appeared in the room, as if by magic, a Christmas tree surrounded by gifts. The Yule log represented the sun god Nimrod, and the Christmas tree represented himself resurrected as his own son Tammuz, Tammuz. So that's where we even get the Father, the Son, and the
The
Holy
Son and the
Spirit.
Holy Spirit.
All
The
right.
Holy
And that's why
Spirit.
you get even the story of Jesus. So like we've talked about this before. There's like the 16 Jesuses, the 16 Christs before Christ type shit. Nimrod, I guess, is one of the
Mm-hmm.
original Christs. And this is where all of this shit originates from. So this is even where the Europeans and a lot of the Germans and all of that shit, because people don't understand Africa was a place that everybody went to gain knowledge. I don't think people really get that. Like people literally went to Africa. They like Romans and Germans and Spaniards. They all sent people to Africa to go learn from the temples and the schools in Africa. Like that was a thing. You know what I mean? Like that's what people did. So that's where you get, that's where you get all of this shit. So Nimrod, so our, the Christmas tree or our Yule log have a tremendous meaning, but not a Christian one though. The Yule log is the dead Nimrod, human ruler of ancient Babylon, who was eventually defied as the sun incarnate and hence a god. The Christmas tree is the mystical Tammuz, which is just him incarnated through his mom, uh,
Right.
instead of a Virgin Mary, the slain God, claimed to life again. So there, and we get the real origin of Christmas goes back all the way to ancient Babylon, which is right after the ancient Sumerians. So well, it's kind of they kind of existed at the same time as well, but they say the Sumerians were the first ones with texts and shit, and so. But this goes back to ancient Babylon, which if we were to probably look into ancient Sumerian texts, we would probably find a similar story in there, maybe with different names.
Right.
Like
Hey,
they had
I got
what up?
a think high moment real quick. So
Yeah,
think about this, like the Sumerian texts were like in stone
right,
and emerald tablets, that type of shit,
right,
right? But like, what if those are not the
right.
oldest
That's possible.
and people before them used some type of paper or
That's
cloth
possible.
to write on and it's just disintegrated or whatever since then? It's
That's
just,
very possible,
think high
bro.
moment.
Oh yeah, for sure. Maybe that's why
That's
they
just
wrote it on
like the
motherfucking stone,
possibility of there
because they
being
got
more than one
yeah,
story about Jesus Christ is
yeah.
definitely possible. You
Well,
know what I'm saying? Like,
like there's in those Sumerian texts that they supposedly That's what I'm saying. Translated. When you have other people translating shit for you, the translation, it always gets lost. You know what I mean? It's just a huge game of telephone. You know what I mean? So you're trying to translate this text that's on these tablets, and who knows if it's the truth. But at the same time, you know what I mean? What you were able to get from it, at least, is some of the similarities that you see where this shit comes from. You know what I mean? So like, if there was some motherfuckers, there was an Inky and an Lil supposedly on them tablets, and they were
Right.
born of virgins and shit like that. You know what I mean? You had all that type of shit still going on, even as far back as
But
then. But
that's the
yeah,
problem with not knowing all the languages is you limit
right,
yourself from being able to know what's really going on. And
facts.
I mean, teaching somebody in 7th through 10th grade Spanish, does not really it doesn't really equal teaching someone languages and things. It just doesn't translate over.
Yeah, because
So
Latin's no longer taught in schools, and then if you were to go try to go even further back, like, who's teaching ancient Sumerian? Who's teaching ancient Babylonian fucking languages? You know
Ghostbusters
what I
is
mean? Like,
teaching those languages.
I mean, you know what I mean? Just on some real shit. So we see that the real origin of Christmas, it goes back all the way to even ancient Babylon, which some would say is the furthest back we could go, you know what I mean? Depending on which kind of historian you would ask.
And if you
Um,
go off of the history, the historian, and the facts of that science, right,
mhm.
then you have to basically agree that, or you
What up,
got to
bro?
at least think about that all of this has got to do with the fucking
Right,
sun
right, right.
and what time of year it is.
Yes.
And it just so happens that this is the winter solstice. And
Hmm.
like
So
it
look,
goes
so
all the way
so look,
back to.
so check. I got some more couple more keys before you know what I mean. Before we sum it all up right there. But so, like, the real origin of Christmas. So it says, go back to ancient Babylon. It says that it is bound up in the organized uh apostasy, which
Apostasy. Yep.
apostasy, yep, with which Satan has gripped and deceived the world these many centuries. So this is what this writer is called, David J. Stewart. Okay, this is from David J. Again, the plain truth about Christmas. He says, in Egypt, it was always believed that the son of Iris, Egyptian name for Queen of Heaven, was born December 25th. So, Nimrod's mom also bore the title of Queen of Heaven, and she was Nimrod's mother. So, paganism celebrated this famous birthday, most have known the world for centuries as the birth of Christ, when really is the birth of Nimrod. And
And it's the ability of a holly and a fir to live
yes,
through winter and keep that evergreen color and not die off.
yes.
That's crazy,
um,
bro. That's
yeah, this
crazy.
is
And then the tree is
Babylonian.
also Nimrod reincarnated in your living
Yes,
room
yes,
with
yes.
apples hanging on
That's
it.
why you use those type of trees. Those type of trees are literally used because of that. So, like I said, like, because, like, from that though, you know what I mean. The Germans and the other people, they take that back to Germany, and it becomes Yule.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And
And then
Krampus
and Krampus and
from
Yule
the Soviet in the
and
Eastern Europe.
Kameth,
You
or
can
Kameth, the Yule goat, whatever the fucking is, you know what I mean? And then from there, the Christians and the Catholics take it and they turn it into Jesus and Santa.
Hey, do we know if these are
Like,
like
this shit's
goats or just like
nuts.
mountain goats or
No, they
what kind
look
of
like
goats?
fucking, yeah, they
No,
look like those.
it's like a stand up goat. Basically, that it has like arms, but then hooves at the
Yeah,
bottom. Yeah.
it's a hybrid type of
Uh huh.
being. And you know what's so crazy is some people, or you would say some, I would
But
say
I'm
this.
talking about the actual, like the physical goat that would get sacrificed or
Yeah,
associated with
they're
like
just, meat,
regular
just
goat, like a
Yeah,
regular
goat
goat.
regular
herder, or like
goats.
Yeah,
goats
regular
out in the
Yeah,
goats,
wild.
man.
regular. Yeah, that was the whole point. Is that they were plentiful. They were around everywhere, so
Yeah.
that's why they
Okay,
used them.
I
Yes.
got you. Makes sense.
Yep. And and hold on. So, all right, hold on. So like,
Yeah,
oh, so
that
and then he
does
just
mean
goes
that.
on to keep
Well,
citing a whole bunch of writers about how Satan has successfully pawned off the old customs of the Babylonian mystery religion, being pleased, as being pleasing to Yashia Christ. So like some of these are written by
Yeshua.
some is Yeshua, yeah,
right.
some
And
Israel
and if
people.
I don't think I'm
Oh,
mistaken. I could be though. And if
mm,
I am, I'm sure there's somebody finna check me. But I think I think that a lot of this, not Christmas per se, but a lot of the stuff that we're talking about
yes, it
was like
does.
real heavy in the Anglo American or Anglo the European. So like
Yeah.
the what's the word I'm looking for? The Aryan. I'm sorry, not Anglo.
Right.
I'm sorry,
Okay. Yeah.
Aryan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think a lot of this comes from the Aryan. And if you think about the color white or the word white, right? Because
Hmm.
it's not a color, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So, and you think about what they did with that color and how it's made to be just the most awesome. It
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily mean that that was a racial thing. It just means like they're the white people and they were like, well, shit, this is a color that we're going to associate with in our religion and our this and that, whatever. But now, these days, like we were just, talking about, like the color black and white, which aren't even real colors, are really used for a persuasion type thing. It's like
Hmm.
if you see the color white, what do you think compared to when you see the color black? And then we realize we're all under this fucking spell.
Yep.
That's where I
It
was getting
is,
at.
bro. Yeah. So
That's where I
so
was going. Is we're
this is
all
what
under this motherfucking spell.
this is what I wanted to say about the last little bit of article that I got pulled up here. It's just a combination of so many different writers, which I like. I'm gonna start using this site. It's pretty dope. I don't even know, but but these writers, they're all from the Middle East. These guys are in like these type of religions, like deep in. So, anyways, the guy says Nimrod was the founder of the great false religious system that began in ancient Babylon that has always opposed the truths of God, and it was time to face the facts. The world is deceived just as God prophesied in Revelation 12:9. And you know what I mean? Like I said, that's what I was talking about. Like a lot of people, like if what the Bible says is true, right? Then sorry, T, if what the Bible says is true, right, then you would conclude that the devil or Satan or Lucifer or whoever this evil motherfucker is has already won. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and the trick was, making you think that he's God. Like, and we're celebrating an ancient Babylonian
Yeah, it's basically
ritual.
like this thing about trust the plan. That's basically what it
Right,
is.
right. And so
In a
that's
real big little nutshell, it's just trust the plan.
right. And
Turn
then
the
you
other
just
cheek.
right, turn the other cheek. And then like it's just wild. It's just wild to see, you know what I mean, how deep and deeply rooted how the spell has just corrupted millions and millions of people. So like this just doesn't happen over, if we're in Christian and these other religions are similar to Christian, like Catholic and all of
At
that. Like this
all.
shit all over the world. That they do it and they do it just differently and there's different words, but the words that they use still mean the same thing. You know
Even
what I
like
mean?
the quote unquote new age,
Yes,
still
yes.
under all of this spell.
Still under all of
Period.
this same spell, bro. Like they just take the spell and they just, they
Bro, the fucking colors in general in every
yeah, bro.
country's flag is a spell
Yes,
Yeah.
to
yes.
begin with.
Hmm. And it goes
They're
back
there
to
to
this.
make you feel inferior. That was their whole point.
I mean, and then if you think about it, right? If that's the case, and then if you really read in deep to like revelations and shit like that, you read into these shits, right? It says shit like, you know what I mean? This is earth is the devil's throne. Like this is Satan's playground.
Believe
This is
that.
you see all of this type of shit. Right. Well, I mean, look at the state of
Well,
humanity
Yeah.
and the glitches in
hey,
the
hold on.
matrix,
Just
you know what I
think
mean?
about this though. Okay, so think about it, bro. What do we see the most of? We see the color green and
Mm-hmm.
we see the color blue.
Yep.
The sky and the motherfucking
And no
grass and
and,
all and
and,
trees and
and
shit is
red.
green.
And
And
red. But
right,
okay,
but
the
I mean
flag
just
wise on the flags. I'm sorry.
well, I'm
Okay.
just no, I'm talking about just in general. what do
What
we
we
see the
see the
most
most
of?
of, blue and green. It's like the
When you walk outside, what do? You see blue
blue, white,
upstairs
blue,
and
white with
down,
the
yeah,
clouds.
and then
It
around
might
you
be
is
gray.
fucking green,
Yeah,
you
maybe
know?
gray, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I got you. I'm with you.
So it's like, and then you go back to what the origins of these quote unquote colors, because these colors were here, are being seen way before these motherfuckers started talking about them
Oh
and
yeah.
giving them definitions and
Oh
the
yeah.
origins. You
And
know what I'm
it's and
saying?
it's and it's like
And it's all
when you
because of the way they vibrate, their
mhm.
frequency.
And then what you see what they symbolize the colors with, you know what I mean? And
Yep.
then you're like,
And then
it's
you're like,
just
oh, okay. So the
yeah, it's like a
majority
way
of
for
what
them
I
to
see all
bring
the time, they got me.
yeah, yeah, because
That's
it's a
why I
way to
said they
bring
hijacked the color green.
yep, it's a way to bring resonance to the spell. You feel what I mean? So like it's like man, that's so crazy. Like, so if you're seeing the vibration of the color of the spell and you're also thinking of the words of the spell, then like it's almost concreted in your subconscious. Like you literally have to go out in the woods and not have to, and even then you still around that color, but I'm just saying like you literally have to reprogram your subconscious to see things completely fucking differently so
Right.
you would have a
And,
different perception.
and think about this. Okay, so if we're gonna getting on the think high moment, right? Why do we see the quote unquote color black when we see nothing?
That's
When we close our
yeah.
eyes, we see black. What is
To
that
me,
about?
that's a combination
I
of
Now
don't see
everything.
that
and
when I
But
close
and
my eyes.
okay, so what color do you see then?
I see all kinds of colors. It depends on what my aura is doing, what my body is doing. I see different colors.
Uh, well, for the majority of the time, I see black. Like if there's a lot of light around,
yeah,
I
then
might see like
the
some other
red,
little
the
shit or
light showing
whatever,
coming through.
or I can
Yeah,
tell when something's around me, kind of or whatever. But
yeah,
so anyway, so if that's black, is that like is that the? Because think about it, if all colors equal black, that means all frequencies come together and equal a certain thing, which could be in harmony. So when you close your eyes and you're the most peaceful, is when you see nothing but black per se. Like, or I don't know. I'm just thinking high here.
right. Yeah.
I think I just discovered something though.
But I think that the problem though, I think the issue in that, right? See, the issue that we
Because
humans
why
do,
don't
you
they
know,
use the color black? Is what I'm saying is
well, it's because
if
they
it's the combination
associate
of everything, right?
right, right,
And it's actually going to make you calm because when you
right,
close your eyes, you're calm. Whatever.
right, right.
Why wouldn't they use that
Deprivation
color?
tanks are the best thing to represent what you're. I get what you're saying. Like you,
Right.
yeah, okay, okay,
Why wouldn't um the color black be used for a lot of other things that these other colors are used for?
right. I
You see
get
what
what you're
I'm
saying.
saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
if color black is not a human, I'm talking about the color that we associate black.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if that is all the colors mixed in, that
Right.
means that everything just came into a harmony to
A
create
balance.
this thing.
Right.
Balance is what is this color black.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't that color be used? And why
As
is that color used during hypnotism though? Because when you
well,
close your eyes, it's black,
well,
right?
the
And then you
problem that
start
the humans do, right? This
there's
is what the
something going
humans
on with
do.
that color.
When humans hear black, they immediately associate it with dark. You see what I'm saying? Like the word dark. When they hear black, they think of dark. They
Right.
think
Yeah.
of
Black
dark. So it's just
magic,
yeah, well,
black
they just think
outside.
of dark in general, right? All that shit's scary. Anything in the
Yeah.
dark, you know what I mean, is scary to people. You know what I'm saying? So like that's where I think the it's harder for humans just to out of out of the context because the spell of black is directly associated with darkness in any kind of however you want to perceive it. You know what I mean? Monsters or the unknown or the fucking whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? So that's
Yep.
why you know what I mean. That's my perception of why they're able to hijack that and not and make you lean towards or feel better about white or light. That's
And
why
then
there's a bright light when you die, and that's you
and
know what I
then why
mean.
do
Like
we see actually during at night the majority of what you see is black? And that's when everybody's
That's
more
That's
supposedly
just
more
because there's
calm.
no light, so you see the absence of color.
Right, right. And
Right, but right, but I'm just saying, like, when we see that, that's not chaotic at that moment. It's like it's time to
Hey,
go to sleep.
hey
You know what I'm
hey,
guys,
saying?
what
Like
up,
it's at the end
Rocky?
of the day. What's going on, Rocky?
I'll tell you why you see black. It's a way for the brain to trigger the melanoma, which the melanin is what helps you get relaxed so you can sleep. That's
Melanin or
why. In
melatonin?
hypnotism,
You said melanin or melatonin?
melatonin.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It triggers your melatonin instinct from your brain to relax your brain so your body
Right.
relaxes and go to
Well,
sleep.
yeah, Nova's
Most
saying
people can
that.
do it in 10 minutes. Some people can't do
Right.
it at
What
all until
Nova's
they take
saying
more
is like
melatonin.
if black is associated with comfort, because obviously
It is. It is.
the body must feel comfortable to go to sleep. So if
It
black is
is.
associated with comfort, then why is it so demonized otherwise? You know what I mean? So
Well,
he's saying,
It's demonized because they program you to think that way. But when you learn what it's about, like with hypnosis, somebody mentioned a few minutes ago, okay, that allows you to relax so somebody can talk you into going to sleep and then using suggestion to bring you back around. Okay, it's very powerful. People don't understand
for
that,
sure,
but
I
it's
already
very
know.
powerful.
I just know that humans associate black when they think of black, they associate it with the dark. You know what I mean? Like that's just the
Well,
first thing. And I think that they did a lot of work to program people to automatically associate, subconsciously when you think of black, you think of darkness, you think of,
well,
fucking
you know,
all types of
it's
shit.
not the
You
it's
wear
not the
black at
demons that
funerals
telling you.
and shit
It's
like
not the demons that telling you. It's the people who are in control of you saying black is a symbol of black magic or
yeah,
death.
yeah, for
But it's
sure.
not. It's
Well, I
just
mean,
the programming in your
it's
brain
completely
from what you're taught.
ritualistic. People have been wearing black to funerals since we've been having funerals. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So since funerals existed,
And
I
also
never
it's
did.
all
robberies.
yeah, and robberies, right? Exactly. Or when you're gonna be doing something bad. You know what I mean? So it's like it's fucking nuts. How they've completely programmed an entire group of people. But like I said, you could take it all the way back to ancient Babylon, and
Yeah,
that's what we all the way back to Nimrod, from even the colors that they use. Why there's a tree, why there's a reef, why we use the color red for this, why we use the color green for this, why we put gold stars here, why do we why what is it from? And then when you really go back to it, you know what I mean, you go back to the original Christ, Nimrod, and then when you figure out what Nimrod is, and it's not really anything good to celebrate because he's directly related to Satan. And then so what people are really celebrating now times of the year is the rebirth of the Antichrist, not the Christ.
Right. And that's
Technically, if
why
you want to go by the
and that's
story,
why the Jewish religion is waiting on our or not our, I'm not Christian, but the Christians antichrist, which would be
Nimrod's
their
name
savior.
literally means what? What?
Hmm.
What'd you just say? A mup? What did mup put in there? Nimrod name means warrior against God. You know
Yeah.
what I
Hmm.
mean? So it's like that's what I mean. So like it to me, you know what I mean? It just screams at me because it was a part of the Bible that I read and it fucked me up because I was like, it says here that the devil's greatest trick was tricking or was deceiving mankind into believing that he was God. Okay, it didn't
And to
say that.
eating from the forbidden tree, which we've now established is
Was a
basically a
Christmas
Christmas
tree
tree with fucking
with
ornaments,
apples,
aka apples hanging on it.
right? So wait. So then you figure out all of this, and you're like, okay, so these motherfuckers really and it didn't say in the Bible the greatest trick or the greatest deception that the devil ever attempted. It didn't say that he tried. It said that he
Succeeded.
achieved. He succeeded. The greatest trick he ever did was deceiving mankind into believing that he was God. He already did it. So it was like,
let me blow your. I need to
go
blow
ahead,
your mind for a minute.
go ahead.
Okay, they associate the color black with Satan or black magic or whatever you believe in, right? Why is it that if you're in a high point of position, they want you to wear
Yeah,
black,
bro.
black
Black
suits,
suits,
black
black
dresses,
dresses, and they got the black and white
black
Pope.
cars.
They got the black and white Pope. Like, bro, yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
bro. Absolutely.
that's
It's
what I'm
all
saying. It's all about what we're propagandized in throughout history, and it's brought through by generations of belief. But when it comes down to it, everything that humans know, and I mean this sincerely, everything humans know was brought to them by the fallen angels.
well, yeah, that's what we saying.
They needed somebody to feed them. They needed somebody to
That,
work for them.
that
They needed somebody to
yeah, yeah,
monetize
yeah,
over.
yeah. So look, that's what we basically saying. Like the whole shits. When you go and break it down, the whole shits is that the motherfuckers that we never wanted to be in charge are actually the entities or the energies or the vibrations, even because some of these beings and things that
Or
you're
the
talking about,
colors.
yeah, or exactly, they exist in a
Colors
spectrum.
have a lot to do with it.
Yep, they exist in a spectrum that we can't see with the normal human eye. So it's like
Uh,
if there's this many spectrums of light and this many colors, like, but there's much more than what the fuck the human eye can actually fucking obtain through the type of light spectrum that we live in. So it's like when they casted all of this whole shit, like you got goddamn, like see to me, you know what I mean? It just goes to prove that there's truth everywhere, and they telling you right in plain sight, and we still like just caught up in the fucking. That's how you know it's a spell, because you know what I mean. Like people are the whole conscious stream has been hijacked when it comes.
but something you
Right.
need to know about light spectrum, and I was in medicine for a while. I learned a lot. One thing you need to know about light spectrum or color is that we're the one of the only animals. There's only very few animals on this planet that see in the same damn light spectrum we do. If you have an orange vest on, it's so you can see somebody's there. But a dog can't see that color of orange. They don't see
Right.
orange.
We talked about this too.
Animals don't see certain colors that we propagate on,
Right.
and
If
they,
you
they
know,
they
if you're
don't
never taught
understand
you,
that.
and that's what we were talking about, this is spell, because then it goes back to the word. Because
Yeah,
if dogs could understand English, right, or they understand tone and they understand vibration, that's what people don't get. When you talk to your dog, they
yeah.
understand your vibe. They're not understanding fucking your actual what you're saying
They
to them. You know what I'm
understand
saying?
your the
Right. But if dogs will
voice that
understand
you're emanating, like a come here, I want to pet you, or
yeah,
who
sit
just
down,
pooped on the
move
floor,
move
they
out the
know
way.
something's up.
Yeah, you know something's up, right? So if a dog knew English, you could teach a dog what the color orange was, right? When it saw it,
Yeah.
because now there's a word associated with it. And we were talking about that with there's a tribe in Africa that's never seen the color blue. They don't even have a word for the color blue in their
Mm-hmm.
vocabulary that they use. So like blue to them looks green. You know what I mean? So then
Yeah.
we broke down how the colors are basically a perception of your specific vibration, that your light spectrum that you could see through, you know what I mean, that like, and that
Yeah.
shit is just so crazy because it's all been hijacked, because like you said, we think black is something bad, we think white is something
It's
pure.
all about
It
control of
is
the
a
mind. It's all about control of
facts.
the mind. How do we know that blue really isn't another color, but the word
Well,
that they associated with it when it wanted to be
yep.
that color or
That's
that
what I'm
Well,
saying. When
word?
people be like, "You're
right.
colorblind," they're like, "They're colorblind." But how do you know that the rest of the world ain't colorblind and they actually see it for what the fuck it really
Exactly.
is? We don't
That's
fucking
what I'm
know. We don't.
saying.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's how Chris. This is because the whole topic was getting into the origins of Christmas and where it actually came from, and like when that's the micro, and then when you zoom out to the macro, you see it's a total control over a whole, um, like a whole spiritual, a whole energy type system. You know what I mean? Because
It's also about controlling the money because
mhm,
Christmas never came around until like the 1700s
yeah,
or
for sure.
1600s.
Yeah, we talked about that
Before
because
that, they just celebrated a day. But here's some homework for y'all.
They had Yule before that, and then they had fucking
Saturnalia.
Saturnalia,
Yeah,
then Yule. But that all came from the scholars. Like we talked about, that all came from Nimrod. You know what I mean? So then it goes all the way back to Nimrod, ancient Babylonia, which all of the European countries sent people out to learn from. You know what I mean? Like
I,
that's where all of your Socrateses, all of your ancient fucking philosophers got their knowledge from, was they all spent at least 5 to 10 years in Africa, then took that information and brung it back to their country. You know what I mean? And that's how you got Germans with Krampus, and these people with these people, and these people with these people, and that's how that shit turns into even Santa Claus and shit. But it's really all the worship of the whole guy that we say that these religions claim to be against. It's all the worship of Satan at the end of the
some
fucking day.
something you have to also look at is if you look at all the gods that were present for other civilizations up till now, you'll find out one very important thing. Same gods, different
Yes,
names.
sir.
Apollo,
Sun god.
okay?
All sun gods.
Yeah. He was also another name in Hebrew, or not Hebrew, in Hindu. The Indians had another name
Yeah,
for it
yes, they
here in
did.
America.
Yep.
They all have different names for the same people. And when you really look at what the perspective is of what we're taught, is that these people all understood mathematics. No, they didn't. These people traveled around the world to establish areas on all the land. And they would say, okay, Nimrod, I want you to go over here and play God over here with Mexico and build us a power station. Okay? Go to Australia or wherever.
Yeah, I get what
And
you're saying.
they're finding recently that there's things that we cherished of Egypt that are much, much bigger than that. And there's written history of it that these gods were the ones who instructed this or built this or
Yeah,
whatever.
because
And we're finding this stuff
oh yeah,
right now.
oh
We
yeah.
couldn't find it 5 years ago because we're in the age of Aquarius right now, and Aquarius is the age of knowledge.
Facts.
People don't understand that, but it's always been symbolized that Aquarius is the age of knowledge. And it only happens, every 62,000 years or some crap it rolls around because it's
Yeah.
got 12 other
Well,
emblems to choose from.
a little bit of knowledge, fun fact about Christmas, right? It takes about 15 years to grow the average Christmas tree.
God damn.
And
Yeah.
Alabama was the first state to officially recognize Christmas in 1836. Oklahoma was the last, 1907. And Santa Claus, which we've already talked about this, but Santa Claus is based on a real person, St. Nicholas of Myra. So,
Yep.
And we know Saint Nick is an origin of Krampus.
yep.
Krampus and
And
Krampus.
there comes the color red.
Yep, there comes the red. That's why suit. That's why Santa's suit is red. And Krampus is basically Baphomet. And then there was a Yule goat, and that's they've been symbolizing this Jesus character. It was a goat before it was actual person. You know what I mean? It was a literal goat. You know what I mean? And it had a name, Cometh or Cometh or some shit like that. And then we find out that story, it goes even further back to fucking ancient Babylonian times, and maybe shit, we'll find out, for next Monday where that actually came from. But as you get deeper into the origin of this whole holiday and the birth and the death of supposedly Jesus Christ, you come to find out that it's just a copycat story from ages and ages ago, which we break down as just a worldwide spell because every
Hey,
country does it.
I,
worldwide,
I,
check this out. Go ahead, man. I just got something quick to
I,
say.
I've got to destroy everybody's Christmas thoughts now. I want you to look this up when you get time. Look up the date that Jesus was born. You won't find it. They'll tell you the hour and the minute, but they won't tell you the day. Christmas is not Jesus' birthday. It's the birthday of Osiris's son. And Valentine's Day is the day that he
Nimrod came before
proposed to
Osiris,
his
though.
mother.
Nimrod came before Osiris, though. See, and
No,
that's
no,
what's
I didn't mean Nimrod. The other one was born on the 25th, the longest day of
yeah,
the year at that point. But
Yeah.
on the same
There's like
hand, during
there's
that
about
time, it had
16
13
stories just like
months.
that.
yeah.
But
16 of them.
before that, they had 13 months on the
Yes, they
calendar. They
did.
were linear
Yeah.
months. And those, they took out one of the zodiacs, pushed it off to
Yes,
the
they did.
side.
Both
Every
weeks.
month had a zodiac sign to it. But Christmas was the son of Osiris's birthday. That we see nowadays as Christmas was Osiris's birthday, which was a big holiday back then.
Yeah.
And
That's his
then became
Babylon.
Valentine's Day when he proposed to his mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's Nimrod shit.
Listen to this.
Yeah.
I did a How Old is Santa? It says, if you think judging by that white beard and hair, Kris Kringle might be around 70 or 80, the truth is he's far, far older. According to history.com, which is hisstory.com, which is whatever it is, right? But it says the monk who over time would evolve into Santa Claus was born in what is now modern day Turkey in 280 AD, making him a whopping 1741 years old.
Yeah.
So Santa came from literally, we just went down the rabbit hole of where Santa came from as far as the Krampus, the red color, etc. And then you get right here and you're like, well, damn, this motherfucker was in Turkey too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, this shit is a worldwide
Ger-
spell, bro.
280 AD.
Yeah, bro.
Something else about Santa Claus. Now, there was a Santa Claus who started up during the fight between the pagans and the Catholics back in Germany around 1400. He became known as Saint Nick.
Yeah, Saint Nick is Krampus.
Okay.
Yeah, we went into that.
Right.
You might not have been here for that last Monday, but we went
Okay.
into that and how Saint Nick is basically, if you trace Saint Nick back in the German times, he was Krampus. Krampus was the opposite of Cometh, the Yule goat, which brung gifts. Cometh brung gifts, and Krampus stole the kids and stuffed them in bags and took them to hell. You know what I mean? So
it's a belief. It's believed that the first Santa Claus was Saint Nicholas, and Saint Nicholas was a monk, and he did not marry. Right. So the Santa Claus that we know lives in the North Pole. Right. And to some North American sources, his original name was Kris Kringle before he changed his name to Santa Claus. And so then you start thinking about, okay, so this was an actual real person that was a monk, and his name was Kris Kringle. And then, so where does the sled, the reindeer, the flying through the air, all of
that,
you know what I mean? And we're going to get into it.
That came around in the 1900s. That came around in the 1900s.
Right. And see, we hadn't got to this whole month. We're just getting all into the holidays in general and Christmas. And so I'm sure eventually in the next day or two or week or two, we'll get into that part. But it's like, there's so much of this story that goes along with a religion, goes along with a made-up religion, and then goes up along with just a holiday in general for people to shop and spend money. But it also keeps kids in line and keeps people in check. And it's just, so it's like, wow, this thing covers a lot of bases here. You know what I mean? This Christmas thing, it's not just about one thing or two or three or four. It's about the whole shit.
Like from the metaphysical all the way into the colors that you see and why.
Because it is so metaphysical. It's physical as fuck, but it's also meta because there was an actual Kris Kringle that was a monk.
Bro, it goes meta just...
Yeah, but
and there's actually more proof that Kris Kringle existed than there is Jesus Christ.
There's more proof of Krampus and fucking this dude.
We talked about King Tut being more. There's way more.
This
proof
dude
of him
Nimrod.
existing.
This dude Nimrod existed before Jesus, and they got extensive, history of Nimrod, like how they got.
That's because he was in control.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's wild that we don't ask ourselves these questions sometimes. You know what I mean?
Right.
And to see exactly
a lot of places you can't ask that. I asked those questions when I was a kid going to church.
Oh
and
my
they would shut
gosh.
me down.
Yeah,
They
oh
would
hell
shut me
yeah.
down in a heartbeat
You know
because
why? The big
I
thing is
I
because they don't have the answer.
Nope.
well that too. But one of the things I pointed out to my brother-in-law who is a preacher, I said, why is it that in some religions that don't have a Jesus, they still have somebody who partakes as a Santa Claus as we know it in their own religions at different times of the year? And they
True.
have those celebrations.
Yep.
Another
Yep. That's
rabbit
true.
hole. I can't go down that rabbit hole too far. I got my good pants on. I got to take my friend to the doctor's office, so I can't get too dirty here,
Nah,
guys.
it's all good, man. We got
I
about
gotcha.
9 minutes left before the
Yep.
show ends, and we could close it out here. Megawatt, did you want to have any closing statements or anything to add before we got up out of here?
I would just say, before people celebrate any holidays or traditions, they should look at if that resonates with them or their values or whatever, and not just blindly follow things just because you have to or you can. So that's my only comment, really.
Okay.
Okay.
R-
Well, that was a pretty middle school. I thought you were going to
I
go
mean,
in
like,
some real. Well, I was going to
what? I
ask
don't know
you
what
this
you
though.
mean.
Well, I was going to ask you this. So, how would you kind of, we only got a few minutes, but how would you kind of sum up this whole Nimrod, sun god, astrology, and Christmas thing?
Good question.
Um, well,
Like,
I mean,
okay, like obviously people looked up and they were like, I don't know, maybe they weren't as intelligent. It seems like everybody tells us that they were so much more intelligent than we are right now, but why did they worship the fucking sun then? I
I mean,
mean,
the sun. If you want to get down to the brass tacks of it, the sun is life. It provides food, warmth, a bunch of stuff that you need. Whether you call it worshiping Saturnalia, in a nutshell, or whether you just need the essence of what it gives you, it just depends. And I do think that we were a lot smarter before as people than we are now, but I also think that we had what we would call beings from other planets visiting us and providing us with information and data and the plan of how to plant things and how to do this and how to do that. I don't think it was just us being smart
well,
on our
the
own, I
reason why I
guess.
brought that up is I was getting to this. What's smarter? Worshiping a sun that you see and it's bringing life, heating you up, or worshiping an invisible man in this thing called
Right.
space
Well, because
paradise?
I definitely
So who's really
understand.
smarter is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, they was really smarter back then. I mean, because it was a lot more simpler. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? In the understanding of what the fuck was going on. At that time period. I also would, just to add on to that, would say that I do think that there was a more advanced civilization back then than it was now. And I think there was a dark age of humanity that we haven't quite been able to uncover yet. And not just all the evidence that I've gotten points to that there's a missing time period somewhere. And we don't necessarily know. We can only speculate at this point. But I think you're right. No, we were definitely
right. And
smarter
we
back
can
then.
only speculate that what we're talking about is the deal. You know what I mean?
We,
Like,
we
because
valued life a
we
lot
could
more
have,
back then.
right, or
So it was
maybe
like
not.
not only did we worship the sun though, like people worshiping the sun, it was we also worshiped trees and each other and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like it was a crazy, it was a lot different. You know what I mean? But
Well,
as we gained consciousness, we were more easily manipulated.
all of their buildings were built basically to reflect or to see through or to have glass made to see through the sun. I mean, that's what stained glass windows, came about for. All of those buildings on Easter Island and other structures, they all have holes in them, to mark time when the sun is at a solstice
Right.
point, so that they know what they're doing. Because a lot of those islands were on, they didn't have weather like we did that could tell them where they are in their cycle.
Right.
So they used buildings and the sun and stars to map
Obelisks
out
and
whatever
shit.
they were
Yeah,
doing.
obelisks
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
of that. Yeah. And I think, all of that is just, it was just completely hijacked into something that would control the masses. You know what I mean? And when you get down to it, it's all the way down to, the metaphysical part of you, because if we're talking about the savior and the savior of the world, or what was technically life after death, our God, what happens, this is the birth, this is the origins of all of this. You know what I mean? This is where we are, like, as a whole humanity. You know what I mean? So we gotta take all of that in and be mindful of what we're actually celebrating, and why we're celebrating it, or why well, what kind of spell we're
And you know
actually
what? It don't
putting
mean you got to
out
do a
there.
damn thing, but it just means that like at least you know it, and then you
Yeah.
actually can come to the realization that everybody, in one way or another, through colors or the word color, the because black and white is not actually a color,
Right.
but through colors, we're all under a fucking spell.
Yep.
Period.
It's all
Because
about peer pressure.
Yeah.
true,
So
Well, yeah.
when
it's all
you
about
when you
peer
see
pressure.
a certain color
You're
and you've been pressured into thinking or taught to think that color means that and is associated with these things, that's basically a spell.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
The
you know what I mean?
thing, yeah,
It's like three sides to a spell. You know what I mean? You got to have the words. You got to have the vibration and the
The
what you want to
Trinity,
call intent, and then you got to have the physical manifestation of. You know what I mean? So if you
the
can have
Father, the
the
Son,
sun,
and the Holy
right?
Spirit.
So if you can have all of that, then it'll be a lot easier to your spell will stick in this reality. You know what I mean? You'll have, and that's why this spell is traced all the way back to currently. We've traced it back to all the way to ancient Babylon and Nimrod. You know what I mean? So, and that shit's written in stone, not in no fucking papers or papyruses and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is some other shit. So it's just, yeah, I think it's dope that you're just aware of. Like I said, you could choose to do whatever the fuck you want to do. That's the beauty of
Right.
this life
Like
shit.
like knowing all this stuff, like I told everybody, I still got me a Christmas tree because
Yeah,
I grew up as a kid not ever even hardly seeing a Christmas tree. We didn't
it's
do that. It was
mm-hmm.
totally snatched out. And so now I love Christmas time. I don't really give a fuck about all this shit we're talking about right here. To be honest with you, I just
Yeah,
like the vibe. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But
hey,
when I
hey,
start learning the colors and I'm like, oh shit, okay. And then the meaning of this and that, it might change my mind a little bit, but I'm still gonna have a Christmas tree. You know what I mean?
right. You might decorate your
hey,
shit.
hey, guys,
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's just like it's just being aware of.
hey,
Go
guys,
ahead,
I got
Rocky.
something to point out to you about this. Okay, everything that we know, okay, is written,
Got about
and
1 minute, Rocky.
you have to understand that 90% of what we're taught is from translation, and they'll mistranslate things to make it sound good. We really don't have a clue. Okay, we really don't, unless we can sit there and completely dissect what they're saying and say this is how it's written or this is what it actually means. We really don't know. Everything is,
Nope, we
too
don't.
much information is lost in translation, trying to either decide what it's trying to tell them or to say this is what it's saying,
It's
even
all
though
nigga
they have
rap.
no idea.
Yep. And you know what, man? So many people are too afraid to actually say we don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, and the only dumb question is the question you don't ask.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Well, hey, Rocky, appreciate you joining in, bro. We got about
Yeah,
two
thanks for
minutes
having
and
me.
we out of here.
no doubt,
Come
Rocky.
back anytime, like we told you before, man.
Yeah,
We like having you
for
here.
sure, Muck. I
All right.
agree. No doubt, Rocky. Appreciate everybody to tune in this Mindset Mindfulness Monday. At whatever you're
Mutt, we
doing.
didn't hear from you today, but we saw you typing.
Hey, yeah. And whatever y'all do around this time of year, just know what the fuck you're actually doing, man. You know, I say in my reality, I just do whatever the fuck, however it fucking flows. I no longer am peer pressured into it, so I just go with the flow.
Yep.
And that's a good way to be. And I do it high.
Yeah, man.
We be back for
Well,
fuck around, find out Tuesday tomorrow though.
tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard
Talk
Time,
about
just
some
like
crazy
always.
shit.
And just think about this while you're doing anything. I know you're going to have a screen in front of you. Go to thinkhighshop.com. Check out the website now because in about a month, it's going to look completely different with a new revamped look, a nice presidential vibe. You know what I'm saying? But not no United States president or no other president around here. A more calm, uh, vibe with basically with the two colors that aren't real colors. We're just gonna do it white and black, and make it look real spiffy. So yeah, we'll
Newspaper
be back
style.
tomorrow.
Yes, sir. 100
See
guys.
y'all later. Bye bye. Thanks for joining in. This has been brought to you by